the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the Monday, December 13th Board of Control meeting. It is 11:02. Nan Baker. Here. Dale Miller. Here. Trevor McAleer serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones.
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever. Here. Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Armand Dudish.
Here.
Catherine Takachik.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, next on our agenda is the minutes from December 6th. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Minutes are approved. Do we have public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, first item, please.
First item, BC 2021-722, Department of Public Works, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to APG Office Furnishings in the amount not to exceed $26,898.86 for the purchase and installation of additional office furniture at the Halley Warehouse Building for the County Prosecutor's Office, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. This first item, we're looking for approval of a purchase order. It's with APG Office Furnishings. It's for the fourth of 4 packages for the prosecutor's new build out at the Halley Building. It's an expanded layout for the prosecutor's office for one of their task force. This package was a government co-op purchase through Omnia Partners, which is a competitively bid purchasing platform that government entities can piggyback off of, and it's a not to exceed purchase order.
Thank you, Tom. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Seconded by Nicole English. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-723, County Treasurer, recommending an award on a purchase order to United States Postal Service in the amount not to exceed $333,750 for the purchase of postage for real estate property tax bills for the first and second half of 2021, and a third tax bill mailing for past due payments.
Good morning, Ray McDaniel from Treasury Department. We're here seeking approval to pay for postage for the tax bills that are going to be sent out for the first half and the second half, as well as the courtesy bill for third billing. We're seeking this now is because of the fact that we were waiting for the selection of the vendor who would do the print, and we normally use the vendor's postage meter to pay for the postage itself. So we have selected a new vendor. We're ready to pay them the amount, or send them an amount of money for the postage cost, which is not going to exceed $333,750.
Okay, Ray, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Do we get the postage at a lower cost than we would get from just walking into the post office and buying stamps, and if so, by how much?
We do get a lower cost from just walking in. Our rate last year was 40 cents per postage, and this year it increased slightly to 44.5 cents. So we're still have a savings when it compares to just walking in the door.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions from the board? Please.
I was just curious, it just seemed like not long ago that we approved this for the next billing going out in December or early January. It looks like it may go out perhaps in January. Is this an ask because of the increase? Did we already approve the $300,000 that was needed in October of 2021?
This is for the new tax year.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time we brought this to my attention.
Yeah, there's other, if I can help, there's
Yeah.
other people that use the postage. I know the fiscal office sends out letters, and we have to do the same thing. We have to cut a check to the post office. So what Ray's do is represent the tax bill right now for next year.
Right.
Vendor, did we approve the vendor recently? We had talked about tax bills not too long ago, so maybe
Right,
it was a
That
that's
was
different.
what
the new
I-
vendor
right.
he's
Yes.
The
indicating.
tax bill,
That's
we
what I
approved the
recall.
vendor.
Yeah.
That was for
That's
the
what it
tax
was.
bill.
Sorry, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
Only.
for the U.S. Postal Service to
Oh,
send
okay.
it.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
the
it was.
difference. We approved for the tax bill, the print of the tax bills.
And even though it says the amount not to exceed $333,000 was established, but it's increasing now.
It's
Because of the-
increasing because the cost of the postage is now 44.5 cents. So we're looking to send out potentially the maximum 350,000 bills for the first half,
Yeah.
another 350,000 bills for the second half, and then roughly about 50,000, or we have $50,000 left for the third billing.
Okay, just.
Yeah,
trying to
no,
keep
you're-
track.
good call, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Additional questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve this item. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-724, Department of Human Resources, recommending an award on requisition 6585 and enter into a contract with Occupational Health Centers of Ohio, PA, Company, doing business as Concentra Medical Centers, in the amount not to exceed $309,250 for drug toxicology screening, physical exams, audiograms, and lead blood testing services for prospective and current county employees for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024.
Stephen Witt with Human Resources. This contract is the result of an RFP process for our drug toxicology services. The primary use of this is for drug testing for potential new hires. There is some additional services such as lead blood testing for the MEO firearm staff built into that contract as well. There are 7 agencies that use this contract. The primary users are Human Resources, the Sheriff's Department, and Juvenile Court that use about 90% of the overall amount.
Thank you, Stephen. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Mackler. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-725, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with Microsoft Corporation for Microsoft Premier Training and Support Services for the period November 1st, 2017 through December 5th, 2021, to extend the time period to December 5th, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $485,049.
Good morning, Board. Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. As you may recall, Microsoft became the IT standard via an RFP in 2017. The ask today is to extend license support along with cybersecurity and training. And I don't know if you recall or not, but once that decision was made with Microsoft, we basically have to go to them.
Hey, Dennis, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Councilwoman Baker, please.
Just to get a better understanding, in looking at the schedule in the backup, it seems like it has considerably increased, not just a little bit. And I'm trying to read through your explanation. 2.8 million, I guess, is what is anticipated now versus what we started out.
I anticipated a question of this nature, Nan. I can't answer it, but I'll get that answer for you via Andy
Okay.
Moles. I don't think it's apples to apples to compare on a scheduled basis because it's a flotating number of licenses that are supported all the time, different number of participants in training, additional cybersecurity needs. There's a lot of factors.
Yeah, it's mentioned here about the enterprise license agreement. But it just seems like considerably, we started 375, now we're at 1.5 million for totals, and they're going up, each amendment's going up considerably every year. I just wondered, I mean, I am reading a little bit here of what you're saying, but it doesn't quite answer. If you could break it down a little
Yeah,
bit.
I can get Andy to send that to you. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, Trevor, please.
Send that to me as well.
I
Send it to the board, yeah.
Send it to Sharon and Sharon disperse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trevor, you have a question, sir?
Dennis, when you say training, what training is involved? This isn't training on how to use the product, right? Who's getting trained? Is it IT staff?
Yeah, I think it's security training.
Okay.
Additional.
Please.
This is the 4th amendment, and it's only for 1 year. Are you anticipating that you're going to just keep amending the original contract?
I don't want to speak out of turn here. Again, this is an Andy question, but I believe Microsoft's gone to a 1-year basis. I think that might be market-driven more so than our desires. But
So
I
the
don't know
answer-
that for a fact.
The answer would be yes, because you're stuck with, So we'll continue each year with this. Was that your question?
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
it goes back from 2017, so will we take an old contract like that and just keep adding a year to it? How many?
Well, the answer,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan, the answer would be yes, then, I agree with Mike, because we don't want a gap in service with the agreement we have with Microsoft. So as long as that's our IT standard, as long as there's not a new RFP to go elsewhere, to
Dennis is
reestablish.
right. If we RFP somewhere else, then it's, it's no different than Infor we're with now. We're gonna have to go with annual license with Infor for comparison. So we're with Microsoft is the same thing.
Okay. So I would imagine if that's going to be the case, we should know well in advance that we're going to be continuing. This is ending 12/5/2021.
I think,
So
and
next
again,
year, we
in
should be,
anticipation of a question of this nature, it was probably a matter of, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I imagine it was a matter of getting their hands around how many licenses they needed, how many everyone was using. That's usually the case.
it's just considerable amount of money, $485,000, keep
Absolutely.
amending one contract, and then it's only for a year. Just looks a little unusual.
Oh, I'm sure we would appreciate not having to do this yearly, believe me.
And listening to our questions, I know. If you give me that information, I appreciate it.
Specifically to,
To the, why it's increasing, to that.
for everybody, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Trevor? You're good? Okay. Any additional questions from anyone, the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Macular. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-726, Department of Information Technology, recommending an award and enter into a contract with Wowza Media Systems LLC in the amount not to exceed $8,995 for streaming media content delivery network cloud-based platform services for the period November 15th, 2021 through November 14th, 2022.
Again, Wowza was declared an IT standard 3 years ago, and this is for multimedia streaming, for meetings, any kind of multimedia platform that's going to the residents, thus as council meetings, this meeting here, any kind of boards, any kind of commission meetings. This is the vehicle that broadcasts, that presents on the resident side.
Trevor, please.
There were a couple of advanced questions asking about a longer-term contract, and the answer was we probably would see savings if we enter into a multi-year agreement, but the fiscal department says no, not to do that. I was just curious we do multiple year contracts a lot. Is there a reason why for this particular one we would not do a multi-year contract?
Two things, Trevor. A, I'm not aware of the advanced questions. I haven't seen what you're referring to. And B, I don't want to answer on fiscal's behalf.
Yeah, we need to look into that. I'm not sure who,
So-
I want to, go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, so I talked to, I think there was a confusion related to a contract that was using CARES funds that got, no, you can't do a multi-year because of the CARES funds. And it was just a miscommunication where they thought that that meant, IT read that as no multi-year purchases. So I think there was just a miscommunication between the two. When I saw that, I kind of followed up with Walter and Janelle. So I think it was just that where they were told not to, specifically around CARES funds software, but it got interpreted as none of these. So.
And I know it's not a ton of money, but is there potential that we could even see savings on this contract if we were to maybe hold this to see if the company would be willing to go into? I mean, we've had this service now, I don't know for how long, but probably
3 years, I
3 or
believe.
4 years that
3 years.
we know we need for the streaming service, I believe, or whatever.
Yep.
So, I mean, I just don't know if we want to have a conversation about to see if we can get a better rate, knowing we're going to utilize this service.
Step up. Come on up, yeah.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, Greg Wilson with IT. So we've negotiated this to the point where this is the best rate that we'll get. We were at first interested in the 3-year contract, and then this was delayed because we were told that we had to do a 1-year contract. So at this point, we're eager to get it moving forward and just do it as a 1-year contract. In the future, we'll definitely look into the 3-year options, but there is no savings from the 3-year contract.
So there's no savings right now, whether we do 1 or 3 years, is what you're saying?
The savings are already, so what we did was we worked with Wowza to develop a custom quote, and we actually negotiated this quote if we went just to their website and, found the products that they offer, it would be much more expensive than the quote that we negotiated with them, because it's providing multiple streams and allowing for a number of users, and it kind of makes it protects the county in the sense that we won't have any bills that are going to go over the, like streaming if there's huge demand for a meeting or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, what we did to kind of get the best deal.
Mr. Mackler?
I appreciate your answer. I mean, so I don't know who answered the advance questions, but it says there would be savings if we did a multi.
I'm not sure what you're reading there, but
I haven't seen that document.
Okay.
I'm unaware of it.
yeah, I'd be happy to look over it, but from what we negotiated, there's not going to be any savings.
And Greg, you were involved in negotiations personally then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's a communication gaffe. I understand what Catherine's saying with the CARES money. I think that's might be where that got thrown off, but hearing what Greg's telling me, since he personally was involved, I would
Yeah.
be inclined to continue. If anyone had any objections, I'm open.
Yeah, so I don't think this is an accurate statement.
Okay. Dennis, if you just look into maybe whoever wrote that response and maybe reply to everyone
Yeah.
what was behind the basis, so we can, clarify that if you don't mind. All right.
I do know that, it took a little bit of time for it to get to the board. So at this point, we are eager to just, get the PO out and have it purchased because it was supposed to be done about a month ago.
But based on your negotiations, you're telling me you guys got the lowest price regardless?
Yes, we did, guaranteed.
Questions from the board? Comments? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-727, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, recommending awards and enter into agreements with various municipalities in the total amount not to exceed $51,600 for community diversion program services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023, with the City of Bedford Heights in the amount not to exceed $4,000, City of Maple Heights in the amount not to exceed $17,200, City of Parma in the amount not to exceed $22,400, and City of Parma Heights in the amount not to exceed $8,000.
Good morning, Tamika Ballard with Juvenile Court. This is a program that we have set up for our youth who are in the community diversion program to divert them away from the official court involvement. And we pretty much deal with youth who are in the misdemeanor or felony stages of the offenses, and they're mostly between 10 years old and 17 years old, with the occasional 18-year-old and sometimes outside of the county.
Okay, thank you, Tamika. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next
Thank you.
item.
Next item, BC 2021-728, Office of the Medical Examiner, submitting an amendment to a contract with Esposito Mortuary Services Incorporated for body transportation services for the period August 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2021, to extend the time period to March 31st, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $250,000.
Good morning, Mark Bands, Medical Examiner Office. Our fall RFP has been advised to go through a rebid. So this is just to ensure that we don't have an interruption in services for the first quarter. So this will run through March 31st, and then the new RFP will launch in January, and then we could start the new contract starting in the second quarter of 2022.
So Mark, this is a follow-up to a previous item we had in the last week.
Yes, last
2
week
weeks.
got us, the additional amount to get us through 12/31,
Right.
and then this will be the funds and to extend the time period to March 31st of '22.
Any questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to, oh, yes.
I just would recommend, I know, we've talked to the law department about this, but we do master service contracts all the time in HHS, and I think, I understand that we've had the same vendor for the past 12 years, but this might be an opportunity where a master service contract would allow us to see what other vendors can do, and it doesn't guarantee that one vendor gets all the work or whatever, but I know it's been the same vendor, but I think a master service contract here for the new award might be something that could benefit the medical examiner's office.
Yeah, and Hugh mentioned that that's been something that's been discussed, and he said just the one issue with that is that there's only been one qualified vendor in the past 12 years. One topic that arose with the other vendor is that there was no proof of handling a major metropolitan area as well as 2,500 to 3,500 bodies. So I understand splitting the workload and everything, but that was just what was brought to my attention. So I'm sure we would have no issue discussing it, but.
Mr. Mackler, does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Or just want to make a note of it?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
talked to Jared and Greg Guth about it a couple times.
Okay, all right. We did make approval of that, did we not?
No.
We did not.
I move for approval.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-729, Office of the Medical Examiner, recommending an award on a purchase order to Battery Backup Power Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $49,470 for the purchase of 6 replacement battery backup uninterruptible power systems for use during power surges and outages.
Art Banza with the medical examiner again. This was a formal RFP, and this is 100% grant funded. So these are uninterruptible power systems, which is similar to a generator. The MEO does run on a generator, but this is just to ensure during the lag time from a power outage to the generator kick on, there's always a little interruption there. So this will ensure that the entire lab will never have that interruption time. And in order to meet the grant requirements, this had to be approved this year, but we did get a delivery extension to February of 2022, and luckily the manufacturer was able to meet those needs.
Okay, thanks again, Mark. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Chair, may I just ask a quick question?
Yes, yes, you may. Mark, hold on.
728, there was a notation that this was still going through the Infor system and should be approved by the time it came here today. I'm just checking to make sure. Did all that happen?
Yeah, I got the contract evaluation form into Cheryl this morning, and I think that was the last thing she needed. And then it's dealing with 2022 funds, so the line wasn't added, but that should be taken care of as well because it's next year's funds. So.
All good to go?
Yeah, I didn't look at it right before I came to the meeting, but I don't expect that we would have any issues with it, especially since it was just, the basic documents were just reviewed for the previous amendment. But they just couldn't submit this one until after the previous one was approved. That's why we let them kind of
Okay,
skip
just
that.
checking.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next item.
Okay, next item, BC 2021-730, Prosecutor's Office, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to MNJ Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $58,537.50 for a state contract purchase of 210 Foxit PDF Editor Pro software licenses and maintenance and support services for the period December 31st, 2021 through December 30th, 2026, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Hi, my name is Jim Ginley from the County Prosecutor's Office. What Sharon said is pretty concise. It is a software license for APAs and other ancillary assistance with the legal process in the prosecutor's office. It's general fund dollars.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
Just
Councilwoman Baker, please.
So this contract is for 5 years?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any final questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-731, Prosecutor's Office submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to MNJ Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $46,528 for a state contract purchase of additional NetApp cloud storage and maintenance and support services for the period December 31st, 2021 through December 30th, 2026, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Yes, that is for additional cloud storage.
Okay, Jim, questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-732, Prosecutor's Office submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Celebrate Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $8,600 for the renewal of 2 Universal Forensic Extraction Device 4PC Ultimate Forensic Software licenses to decrypt and extract investigative data from mobile devices for the Special Investigator Unit for the period November 13th, 2021 through December 4th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Yes, our special investigative unit uses this for Android and for iPhone to crack them when they're locked or they're not locked. It depends on how we receive the information, then decipher the information.
Hey, Jim, thank you again. Questions from the board on this item? Councilwoman Baker, please.
So I see in the backup that this is a new item. Am I reading that correctly?
This is a new item for the general fund to be paying for this time. Last time, that's why when they were trying to see if it was a renewal, it is for an additional year period. The past 2 licenses were purchased with discretionary money that the prosecutor had available in 2020, October.
So new source of funding,
Yes.
but same supplier.
Same service, yes.
And it's probably just not correct on the backup, but it says yes for ERP approved and yes for the budget. Is that just filled in incorrectly?
You know what, I'm not sure.
It's got to be your template.
Yeah, that has to
Someone's
be,
gotta
that's
change
already
it.
in there.
So it should be no, or NA.
I don't think it's
Nothing
applicable.
to do with the ERP. No. Just have them change that, Jim, whoever.
will.
Yeah. Additional questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item is approved. Moving on to exemptions.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2021-733, Department of Public Works, recommending an alternative procurement process which will result in various award recommendations to P&P Valley View Holdings, doing business as Boyus Excavating, in the total amount not to exceed $200,000 for disposal of clean fill for the period December 13th, 2021 through December 12th, 2023.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again, Public Works. This is requesting alternate procurement. It's going to result in as-needed purchase orders spanning 2 years. It's allowable funds up to $200,000, so we don't have to commit to that dollar amount today. We're not tying up those funds, so it's going to be as-needed purchase orders. It'll cover us for 2 years. This is for clean fill, disposal of clean fill through Boyus. It stemmed from an informal bid. They were the only bidder, and historically have always been the only bidder for this.
Thank you, Tom. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-734, Sheriff's Department, recommending an alternative procurement process which will result in award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $275,000 for emergency off-site medical services for inmates for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, for the vendors listed on the printed agenda, items A through L.
Laura Sims for the Sheriff's Department. This is our annual submission for alternate procurement for outside medical. These are all vendors that are non-Metro Health, and we, the physicians are the ones who direct them to this. The sheriff's office doesn't particularly, do that. It's as medically needed.
Okay.
And the list is all-inclusive of ones that we've used in the past several years. That way, in case they come up again, that we'll be able to do a procurement with them.
Okay, Laura, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-735, Department of Health and Human Services, recommending an alternative procurement process which will result in payments to Treasurer, State of Ohio, for various invoices in the total amount not to exceed $250,000 for technical support services to county employees in connection with the tech service support policy for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
Morning, everyone. Dan Basta, Health and Human Services. This is for our support with the state with our IT purposes. Whenever we handle IT maintenance, IT programs, handling the servers for the state of Ohio for our various agencies, we are billed by the state via the TSSP program, and we usually get those quarterly, and it's required whenever we use any of their services. So as opposed to the county that is on their own mainframe and their own servers, we use the state for most all of our agencies. And this is how we're charged for it. Thank you. Be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Dan. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-736, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, recommending an alternative procurement process and exemption from aggregation on various purchase orders, which will result in various award recommendations to Treasurer, State of Ohio, in the total amount not to exceed $3,062,484.30 for state-mandated services rendered to children with medical handicaps for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 3701.023.
Dan Basta on behalf of from Health and Human Services on behalf of Job and Family Services. This item is to cover the county's share of children with medical handicaps. When a child with medical handicaps is given care, the county is responsible for paying Medicaid back. This is non-reimbursable. It's part of our liability to the state and Medicaid. Be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Dan. Questions on this item from the board? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-737, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, recommending an alternative procurement process which will result in various award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $300,000 for non-emergency client transportation services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, with ABC Taxi in the total amount not to exceed $180,000 and Ace Taxi in the total amount not to exceed $120,000.
Good morning, Dan Basta, Health and Human Services on behalf of Job and Family Services. This is for the non-emergency transportation client service. Basically, we do have an RFP that was set up with AmeriCab. These are for alternate times where AmeriCab can either not pick up or the area that we're driving the particular patient to is farther away than AmeriCab would take it. So these are rare instances, but we are mandated to give these rides. It is also reimbursed as well.
Thank you, Dan. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item is approved. Next item.
Chair, may I just, quick question on
Yes.
the last statement you just made? Who reimburses us?
Medicaid.
Medicaid reimburses?
Yes,
So we
correct.
pay it and they reimburse us?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, good question.
Okay, next item, BC 2021-738, Department of Health and Human Services and Department of Development, recommending an alternative procurement process which will result in award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $2 million to reimburse employers for employee wage and training expenses in connection with the Learn and Earn program for the period of January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
Good morning, everyone. Vaughn Johnson, the Department of Development. This is our standard annual renewal of funds via the alternative procurement process. Learn and Earn funding is used by the Department of Development for its Skill Up program. Skill Up supports private companies as a connector to other service providers and for funding. So they can train their existing employees and meet talent needs. Skill Up is a win-win program. The employer gets a more skilled workforce, and the employees earn more money to support their families and their communities. We are requesting using these funds via the alternative procurement process.
Thank you, Yvonne. Questions from the board on this item? Councilman Miller.
How much money was budgeted for the Skill Up program in 2021, and of that, how much of it was spent?
Okay. Dan, do you have that? Please. Health and Human Services. There was $1.5 million budgeted for Skill Up in 2021. They invoiced out $66,000, but of the $1.5 million, there were POs outstanding for roughly, we've paid $60,000. These are all out of levy funds. This project, Skill Up, is in conjunction with Health and Human Services.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, only about a third of the 2021 money has either been spent or been obligated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, if that's correct, why can't we just carry over the 1 million left over as opposed to providing an additional $2 million here?
Those funds are all being carried over. The original Skill Up program had a total amount of $4.5 million. That was not spent over the last several years.
This item just extends the alternate procurement. It's not the funding issue.
That's correct.
I see. So, do we expect that activity is going to expand enough in 2022 that we can spend $2 million?
I was hoping you would ask that question because under my leadership, that is exactly what we're planning on doing. Skill Up is actually undergoing a redesign. We're going to be calling it Skill Up 2.0. The prototype for Skill Up 2.0 is almost completed. There is a number of initiatives around Skill Up 2.0, including marketing and promotion and other activities to promote the program.
Okay, well, I'm going to be watching. I've
I hope
been
so.
supportive of Skill Up in concept, but so far we've not been able to get the participation level that we've had in mind.
Okay. Well, I wasn't here then, but I'm here now.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Careful what you say. Any additional questions? Mr. Mackler, please.
So, is there $2 million in the 2022 budget, or how much is budgeted for Skill Up for 2022? Is it just the leftover 1 million, or Dan, do you know the dollar amount?
That's correct, sure.
So 1 million?
No, 2 million.
There's 2 million. Okay.
That includes salary and fringe and the carryover from the 5 originally that was allotted for Skill Up.
And then, is there another 2 million for 2023, do you know? Or is it only the 2 million that's budgeted over the really?
I don't know.
Okay. Could you let me know, please, or let us know, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any final questions?
Move approval.
Move approve, seconded, I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-739, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, recommending an alternative procurement process which will result in award recommendations to National Council on Aging in the total amount not to exceed $18,000 for use of the healthcare benefits portal for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024.
Good morning, Dan Basta, Health and Human Services, on behalf of Division of Senior and Adult Services. This is an agency that handles a portal for seniors Our senior adult protection workers go in with the senior, try to find out the best possible medical benefits that they can receive. And this is the service that provides a comparison for each one. Also, this is for the next 3 years. It's usually $5,000 per PO, but we added a little extra in case they do raise it. So be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dan. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item is approved.
Thank you.
Moving on to. Am I going too quick? You got to put the flag up for me here.
Yeah. No, they work with their adult protection worker, and they actually go in. They can either go in virtually or if the client is there, which usually not in this particular, during the pandemic, but they go in together. They view their benefits. They work if it's private, whether it be private or Medicaid or Medicare, so they provide them a comparison and find what's best for that particular senior. Correct. Someone within our agency, Division of Senior and Adult Service.
Mr. Mackler has one for you,
Sure.
Dan.
Sorry, Dan. Do you know how many seniors we do help sign up on an annual
Not
basis?
offhand, but I can get you that information.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda item today, please.
Moving on to consent agenda items, BC 2021-740 through 741.
Okay, board members, feel free to ask any questions on the couple items. Are there any questions on the items, or do we need more time?
Mr. Chair, just one, on the listed POs, it says detention center for all the food. Is that juvenile court or is that the jail? Usually I feel like it distincts between the two, or tells us which one it is. I was just curious which all these purchase orders were for.
Catherine, any? Those-
Oh,
Yeah, it's probably juvenile court,
okay,
since they do a lot of those individual purchases.
thank you.
Sure.
A lot of purchases.
Wonder why it changed. We'll have to look at that.
It might be the accounting unit they chose. I mean, it's just a list of how it's labeled in the Infor system, the accounting unit.
Okay.
So it came out of a different accounting unit than standard this time, than previously.
Very good.
I have a question.
Councilman Miller, please.
And it is, on this very last item, Sherpa Government Solutions. Can you explain what this $2,947 10% reinstatement fee is all about?
Trying to recall what Sherpa is. Dennis, do you recall offhand? The last item on it's, yeah. That Sherpa is familiar. I just can't draw it right now what it is.
I mean, Sherpa's the budget software for Infor, but these would have been, I don't know what the.
It also seems odd that the license contract amount is the exact same amount as the reinstatement fee.
So that's the same item. So the way that the system pulls
Oh.
out, it's per line so if you have multiple lines on it, that's the way that the reporting comes out. So it's actually the same item. There's just two different lines on it. That's why you'll see the same purchase order item on there, but it's the same item.
I'll have IT look in and get back. Is that okay, Dennis? Have someone up there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's just the two lines. Can you look
Okay.
in to see what that is, and when you're sending your other questions back, add that to it. Thank you, sir. Okay, any additional questions?
Mr. Chair, is that the same then for all the repeating ones that have like $46.99 for the detention center? That's just the grand total for the purchase order?
Right, that's just the
Okay.
total, but it gives the description by line.
Is that a little different of how it's, I feel like it's not normally listed like this.
No, that's how it's been
Oh.
listed.
And I don't know if it was mentioned, but the licensing date, 4/1 to 3/31.
They need to look at that as well. There's
Okay, I
something
don't
with
And
that.
that's just, that's a hard key description they put in there, so that could be just that they typed in maybe the wrong
The wrong
description
date, the wrong something.
on it, because it's just something that people type in, it's not a pulling from anywhere.
Dennis will get that data for us, so. What happens when he shows up?
I'm on it, gentlemen.
Okay, before I lose track, with no further questions on the consent agenda items, I'll make a motion to approve them. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The items are approved. Moving on to other business.
There's no other business,
Any public comment?
no public comment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. That was our last one for the year, right?
No, one more.